got to talk about your transformation. Lily, you looked so much like Pam, and I read that you spent hours in the hair and makeup chair. What did you first feel when you saw yourself as Pam?
It was very surreal. I mean, it was an amazing process with David Williams and Barry Limo, our hair and makeup, and a prosthetic team where we figured out, it was a long process of figuring out how to make this work and what the right balance was and how to be able to sort of resemble her, but also, not be in the chair for 15 hours. And so I was going in at 3:30 in the morning and having sometimes over 4 hours in the makeup chair. So, but they did a great job. And by the end, we could do it pretty quick occasionally. So it was definitely unlike anything I've ever experienced before.
Same for you, Sebastian. I mean, I love that you learned how to play the drums. Do you still play today? Or are we going to get like a random concert from you someday?
No, that's not happening. I mean, it's like it's very therapeutic, actually, the whole experience. I mean, there's definitely something to that I want to kind of like keep seeing through, but there's no concerts.
That wasn't like the only part of your transformation. I mean, you also had like the nose ring, the nipple rings, you had all the tattoos. Did you like having all of those tattoos? Did it make you want to get one?
I always thought about tattoos, but I never went there. So, and again, it might be too late in my heyday now to get something. But if I will get a tattoo, I think it's gonna have to be Mamma Mia 3 all across my chest.
Great idea.
Because now I want that movie to happen.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. You guys could get them together. That would be
I love it. Or ABBA.
Lily, I love that you grew up watching Pam on Baywatch and were like an actual true fan of hers. What was it like when you first put on that like Baywatch swimsuit?
Yeah, that was a pretty wild moment. God, I don't know. It's so crazy because it's so iconic. So, it definitely was a lot of a better experience once I'd had a spray tan because I'm very English and I'm very pale. So initially it was a little shocking for the wrong reasons.
What part of that transformation into Pam was most frightening for you? Because I know that you've said that at one point in time, like a week before filming, you thought about like walking away from the project.
Well, that was just sort of like standard anxiety, which you have to overcome before any role. I think there's always like a sense of like, oh God, no, you kind of want to run away. It's like, which would be easier than, committing and being vulnerable and taking a risk, which is also why you do it. But, the biggest key to it really was I worked with this amazing trainer. He's called Matt Bevan and he's just the best. And I got so fit physically and you did the same. I mean, you had such a huge transformation in your body.
Eat,
yeah, and ran on an empty stomach. Yeah. But that really helped because Pam was so athletic. So to get to feel so strong and like that was a great confidence booster.
I feel like I learned a lot about the actual story and what was happening years ago. I mean, Sebastian, do you think that if something like this happened today, the general public would view it in the same way?
I think that's a really good question, right? And that's something that we're trying to ask with the show. And I think we're exploring, we're talking about it, we're having these conversations. How would we act today? Would we act differently or not? And, but I will say that in my humble opinion, sadly, I feel we've become more desensitized today as a result of how dependent we are on technology, and that we often don't really think about the repercussions of something like this. But again, I think we need to kind of learn more about it and talk about it and become more aware so that we're, that we kind of understand that just because you can go online and write whatever you want is not, it's still gonna affect somebody, or it's still gonna, have repercussions.
Lily, you've talked about the same thing about celebrity and privacy or lack thereof. I mean, do you agree that like we've sort of become desensitized to a lot of this nowadays?
Yeah, I think like you're saying with the internet, with social media, it's so easy to say things. It's so easy. And I have to say, I do think that there's huge double standards that still exist, huge sexism, within the media, but in the cultures of celebrity and how we talk about people or how we like to tear people down, and particularly women. And I think that this show is looking at all of that and trying to look at our own culpability in perpetuating, that behavior. And so It does ask a lot of big questions, I think, and it feels very timely.
And I like that, like, it sort of balances some of these heavy questions with some of these just kind of light, funny moments, like the talking penis. Sebastian, I know that this was in Tommy Lee's book. What were you thinking when you read this in the script?
Just like, how are we gonna shoot that? We had great writers, and they really thought about it, and I think there was always a question, would that scene work or not? You know, and at the end, it ended up working, right? But the fact that they were open to it not working, it again goes to show about the right attitude that I think we all had, which was, you know, let's just make sure that everything we're putting in is gonna click or make sense, or it's not for any other reason.
Yeah, I agree. It didn't feel like you guys threw in that moment or any of the nudity for like just for kicks and giggles. It felt like this is intentional and there's a reason behind this. Lily, when you saw that there was like some nudity, was there any apprehension that you felt?
Well, in fact, exactly how you just put it is so right. I mean, we didn't want it to feel salacious or there just for the sake of it. It really felt that it had to be a part of the story. It had to be essential to the story and to progressing their relationship and looking at what happened. And so it was honestly, it was a really great constant conversation that we had and that developed and evolved, and everyone really listened, and there was a lot of trust, and nothing was set in stone. So it couldn't have been a better experience really in the making of it.
Thank you for watching. If you want more extra, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you'll never miss a video.